All right, I'm making a God of High School video. It's called the top 10 fighters in God of High School. The anime. We don't need calls to the manga or the manhwa. It's a manhwa, y'all. We have to be a little correct about that. It's a manhwa webtoon comic. That's what the adaptation was for. They should have like kept going with the stuff because like the manhwa was apparently like good. Um, when Jin Mori was doing extra stuff in the manhwa, like more powerful and all that other stuff. Um, but I have the anime stats right here. Where I have the ranking of these people that people were fighting in the tournament. I'm not just in the tournament, but outside of the tournament as well. So at number 10, I got Ma Rin Li. Ma Rin Li. So Ma Rin Li was fighting against Mira Yu, and he grabbed her sword, and she has the sword that is like powerful. It was passed down in her family and other shit. She's the wielder of that sword. But he was able to take that sword and take out its true potential. And she was like, what the fuck? This guy took my sword and he drew out its true potential before I could. And he was like, yeah, I got it like that. You're, weak. And she had to fight against him, and get her sword back. But the fact that, he was able to draw out that true potential in her sword, and she was like holding on to that bitch for like, the whole series. And she didn't do it, but he took her sword and he was able to do that shit real quick. I was like, that's Sharak. That's the power that he used to like, awaken like latent abilities and something else. That's how his Sharak. He he was putting on a stand. But then I got at number 9, I have Mira Yu, or Mira Yu at number 9. Because she was able to get her sword back. She had to use she had to use fucking, no sword style. Like she basically like imagined that her sword was still in her hand and she was like running fucking a sword fight without having a sword in her hand. She was using air thrust and shit like that. And she was able to like get the sword back and shit, and win the match too. And she also had to fight against other people. Um, but the other people she fought against were like stronger than her. But she didn't die. Like when she fought against Daewi Han, and Daewi Han was like upset because he thought his best friend had died, and he was like he was just upset about it. So he like went a little overboard when he defeated um, Mira Yu, but she was all right. Um, she actually went into that fight with some wounds actually, and she was like, Daewoo actually, he just went too hard on her. But that goes into number 8 because I like Daewoo on at number 8, and Daewoo is not weak at all. He's Mujin Park was looking at him and he was like, he's one of the Tiger Cubs too. He fought against a guy who had a bat. This guy with the bat was, Poindexter, so he knew where to hit Daewoo and like which pressure points where they were and other things. And Daewoo was like, taking those hits, and Daewoo actually let the bat hit his head because that guy with the baseball bat had slipped, and he was like, I'm not gonna hit a guy who's not on his feet right. I'll let him hit me, you know. And he was like, all right, whatever. And then they started running that fade, and Daewoo ended up winning. And then he fought against Mira Yu, and he whooped her ass real quick. Um, and he was like really fueled by like anger and frustration because his best friend was like at death's door, and he just didn't know, and people had pissed him off at work that day too, saying that his friend should die and other shit. And he's like, you don't know what me and my friend's been through. You don't say shit like that. He was kind of like upset that whole time. But then he had to fight against Jin Mori, and he brought out all of his like real fucking moves called Black Tortoise, Vermilion Bird, um, White Tiger, and Azure Dragon. and he hit all that shit off on Jin Mori. He hit it off twice actually. He hit all four of them once on him, and then he hit them all off another time, two times, all four moves, and he still didn't beat Mori Jin, but he was there for it. Uh, and he's a part of the group. It's him and Mira Yu and Jin Mori. But at number 7, I have Bong Chim. Bong Chim was a guy that was heeding calls to a fucking elderly home because he's an old man, and I have him on the list because I don't know. I just know that he's like doing shit because Mujin Park went to him to get some information. And that's Mujin Park who runs the whole tournament for Gata High School. You know, he was like, for his expertise. And when he went to him and shit, the old man went to check him out and shit. Was like, is this guy weak as fuck now, or is he still like that? And he like stabbed Mujin Park with his fingers and shit. And Mujin Park was like, no, I'm over here. Um, Even though it was a copy and other things, it showed that Bong Chim was still able to run around and do stuff. At his old age, he ain't just some guy that gives lectures. Is what I'm saying. He does shit too still. And then I got at number 6. I got Iipyo Park. Iipyo Park. That's the guy who. That's the guy. No. That's the guy who was fighting against Jin Mori, in one of the rounds of the tournament. And when he unlocked his Charuk, he had the nine-tailed fox, or the nine tails. As far as in lore, it's the beast that has 9 tails, and the 9 tails is it's how old that beast is, and it puts on illusions and shit like that, right? But it's also a fiery type of personality too. So like this guy was able to use fire, and he looked like a fox. He manifested like fox like features, 9-tailed fox features, and he started fighting against Jin Mori. And Jin Mori was on the back foot for most of that fight. But then, because Jin Mori is the main character, other things happen. But that fight was like one of the best fights in the series. It's right there with him, Jin Mori versus Daewi Han. But that one was better because they were like he was on the back foot for real. And uh, Iipyo Park was like Jin Mori's big older brother. He told him to call him that after like Jin Mori won. As he was learning some shit during that fight, he learned about Charuk and how to use his shit. Um, Jin Mori did. He unlocked some of that shit during that fight. But then I got at number 5. I got Commissioner Q. Now people will be like, why the fuck do you have Commissioner Q at number 5 when Jin Mori knocked him on his ass in one of the episodes? Like basically, so Jin Mori got disqualified from the tournament because he stepped in the ring to help some other guy not die. And then they were like, you're disqualified for now, but to get back in the tournament, you have to fight against one of these commissioners. And Commissioner Q went up to, show his shit. And all Jin Mori had to do was like knock him on his ass. So, Jin Mori played games and he got there real quick. And the guy ran the rules by him and he was like, all right, cool. And Jin Mori went up real quick and was like, oh, let me take your glasses off. And then he put him on his ass real quick. And, he won the match. But then Commissioner Q was like, that's some bullshit. I didn't even get to show you what I could really do. Now you have a false idea of what I can do. And that is true because then he like busted out his Charuk and Jin Mori was like, oh shit, I don't know. Like, this shit is like, I don't know what the fuck this is. This guy's summoning out a demon from within himself, a spirit, a god from within himself. And they other commissioners had to come down there and be like, no. Jin Mori won. He's back in this shit. You can't play games like that. And one of the ones who came down, and I got this guy at number 4. It's that white haired guy because he was able to like fend some shit off. That's what I was seeing. He was able to deflect blasts and other shit. And he was going after Knox members and other stuff. Um, and he wasn't, sweating too much or anything. That is his name is, and he's a white-haired commissioner. His name is Sochun Yang. Sochun Yang, and he was showing some shit real quick. Sochun Yang was. Just watch the anime. It's 13 episodes, y'all. This shit's, cool, kind of. And I do want to read the manhwa and shit at one point, at some point. But that shit's, I have him at number 4 because to me he was showing some moves. Out of all the commissioners, those two, showed some stuff the most. And then, based off of what people were saying, the other commissioners were like just as powerful, but I didn't see nothing too much. So that's why I got Mujin Park at number 3. Mujin Park is the leader of like the commission at Gata High School to like see where the tiger cubs are and find who has Charak, who has the ability to hold within them like deity power basically, and fight with it. And he has his own power. He had to fight against some people. He had to stop a big ass sword from coming down on some shit. And then he had to gather all the fucking members of Charak to like stop like to Talk Jagal. Talk Jagal. I got him at number 2. Talk Jagal was gonna like destroy everything. Um, and everybody was like, oh shit, the world might end and other stuff. This shit's like getting pretty fucking hectic. Mujin Park at number 3, and then I got Talk Jagal at number 2. And Talk Jagal is like the final bad guy for the series. He was like trying to kill people. He was killing people the whole time during the tournament. He was excited to kill people. He had a lethal mentality about him. He loves to kill people and stuff. And that's why he existed and other things. And he was gonna be the best of the best, you know. But at number 1, it's Monkey King Jin Mori. Jin Mori, fought against everybody in the tournament. He handled everybody pretty, easily. Daewi Han was even easy for him to duke it out with. And um, uh, Iipyo Park, was also a good match. He fought against Commissioner Q, and that, was an easy dub for him. He also, was taught by a man named Take Jin, and he was like a guy that they were talking up to the heavens and shit. Like, this guy is like powerful, Take Jin, and Take Jin was Jin Mori's grandfather and shit. Um, and Jin Mori was fighting against Talk Jagal at the end of it. He had some of the monkey pole, and he had his monkey energy. His Monkey King energy came to him, and when that came, that's his Charuk, of like Sun Wukong and shit like that, y'all. And he, started like, wearing his ass out, and he actually defeated him. Um, Everybody else just had to be like, oh shit, Jin Mori is doing his thing. And that's the ranking of all the fighters in Gata High School that I saw that were using Charak, that power they have in that series, and they were putting their hands to good use. Stay cool, corner on the corner though.